In reading today, we are continuing what we did on Friday. Who remembers on Friday, we had a special guest on Zoom. We had Miss Councilwoman Jessica Piper, and she was here on Zoom with us, and she answered some questions about her job working for the local government. So then after our Zoom guest, we did some writing. We started brainstorming, why do people do things in the government? We used the word participate. Why do people participate in government? I've got a couple hands who want to share. Go ahead, Kaylee.
I don't want to share, but my dad, I think it's too close to precision.
Let's put it that way. Nick, go ahead.
You still remember her name, Annabelle Tuesday?
Yep, I remember. Plus, it's on our task today. So today, we're going to go back to that same task. And we already did some writing. Today, we're going to improve our writing. That means make it better. We're going to edit it and make sure we have all the sentences we're supposed to have. But first, we're going to watch an example. We're going to see how somebody can take a paragraph and improve it. How to take our brainstorming sentences and how to make it better. So first, we're going to focus our attention. We're going to listen to the teaching video, and we're going to watch about our lesson today. Here we go.
This is an example of how to grade yourself and make corrections according to a rubric. This is the paragraph that I wrote on Friday following Councilperson Piper's visit to us. My paragraph says, the government has many purposes, but the two main purposes are to help citizens work together and keep people safe. One way the government does this is people participate in government by protesting to speak up for what they think is right. Citizens can also vote because the government can be very helpful to the people it serves. There were a few things in there that didn't make sense. Did you catch them? That's why it's important to go back and check your work. Let's look at the rubric on slide 2 from Friday's work.
So on Friday, we did the first 3 rows. Remember that? We said it's your job to, number 1, explain the purpose of the government. Why do we have the government? What's it for? What's the purpose? In your writing, you should have that. Number 2, you should list at least 2 goods and services provided by the government. Today in your writing, you should check, do I have those 2 things that the government gives to us? Okay. And number 3, you're going to explain a reason people participate in government. What's a reason people work in the government, or people like you and me, how do we participate in the government if our job is not the government? How do we participate? Okay, let's see what Mrs. Sousa does as she uses the rubric to check her own writing. This is a 3rd grade skill you need to know how to do. Here we go.
I'm going to color code these items. First, we're going to take a look at these top items, which are about the content of our paragraph or what the information is teaching. First things first, I have been asked to explain the purpose of government. I'm going to go highlight in my paragraph where I did that. In my opening sentence, I say, the government has many purposes, but the 2 main purposes are to help citizens work together and to keep people safe. So, yes, I did explain the purpose of the government. Next, I have been asked to list at least 2 goods and services provided by the government. Oh, shoot, I don't think I did that. Let's see. One way the government does this is, I forgot right here to add those goods and services. So I'm going to continue to type. One way the government does this is by making traffic laws to keep drivers Now I have given a good and service being the laws that are made to keep drivers safe. Let's go back to our rubric. List at least 2 goods and services. Oh shoot, I only listed 1. If I want a better grade, I need to create another inside of my paragraph. So I'm going to go add more. Let's see, making those laws for me is a service. Let's think about a good that is provided. The government also provides funds for public parks and libraries for people to use. There we go. Now I have 2 goods and services.
So Mrs. Sousa is practicing. She's modeling that she looked at the rubric and it said her paragraph should have 2 goods and services. Then she went back to her writing and she said, oh, I forgot to put that in there. So she edited her work. She went back and she added more sentences to make sure she listed a good and a service. You're going to be doing this today with your own writing. Let's keep going with her example. Let's focus our attention. How can we improve our writing today, just like Mrs. Sousa is doing?
The service of creating the laws so that we know how to stay safe, and the goods of public parks and libraries for people to use. Let's take a look at another item we've been asked to identify. Explain a reason people participate in the government. This is either a yes or a no. Let's go see if I said why people participate in government. People participate in government. Oh, yes. People participate in government by protesting to speak up for what they think is right. Citizens can also vote because, because I didn't say why. Citizens can also vote because, let's add that in there. I forgot to finish my idea. Because they want to help put the person in charge that they most believe in. So now I've identified reasons that people participate in government. They can participate in government by protesting for change and by voting to elect the people that they would like to be in charge. So now I can say, yes, I explained a reason that people participate in government.
All right, so we're going to start there, boys and girls. You are going to go to your draft and you're going to look at those top 3 rows like Mrs. Sousa. You're going to look at, does your writing say the purpose of the government? Do you list 2 goods or services? And do you explain the reason people participate in government? Those are the 3 big ideas we're looking for in our writing first. We're going to do that, and then we'll come together and talk about capital letters, spelling, and punctuation. Okay, let's go ahead and find our task together. All of you have it saved as a draft. So on your home screen, under Assign to Class, you will click the orange check. Our task looks like this. It's called Councilmember Jessica Piper. It's the same task from Friday. You need to open it up by clicking Edit Your Draft. Right here, I'm showing you that everybody has it on draft except for Jose. Jose, you can find it under Assign to Class. And you will start by editing. Just like me. And your writing is on slide 3. This is where you did your writing yesterday. Go ahead and open this task. Go to slide 3 and let's pause there together. On slide 2, let's do just like Mrs. Sousa did today. We're going to go line by line and you're going to find it in your paragraph. If you don't have something in your paragraph, today's the day where you add it. So let's pick a color. Let's do green first. And let's start with the first row. Let's look in our writing for the part where you explain the purpose of the government. I want you to go to slide 3. Go to slide 3. And in your writing, can you find a sentence that explains the purpose of the government? Why do we have the government? What is it for? That's what we're looking for right now. Go ahead, you have 2 minutes. Go find your sentence that explains the purpose of the government. If you don't have it, this is your time to write it. Go ahead. Our next row, I'm going to switch my color and I'm going to do a light blue. Row number 2. This is what Mrs. Sousa modeled for us. Listing 2 goods and 2 services. What is something the government provides for people? Who can share out an example of the goods and services that the government provides? Kaylee, what's one?
The government provides helpful and things.
What's a good or service they provide? List an example in our writing. What do you have, Theo? Parks.
Schools, they pay for schools.
What else?
They pay for schools.
Schools. There's 2. Who has a different example other than parks, other than schools? Nick. They do provide some health care like doctors. Angela.
And we have desks and chairs at school.
In our own school, they provide desks and chairs. These are goods that they provide for us. Kaylee.
Houses.
Sometimes the government provides housing for people. We learned that especially with natural disasters, right? If there's a flood or fire, the government will provide homes for people who lose their homes. Maberly. Maybe hotels. A lot of times hotels are built by other businesses. That's a good example. I'm thinking of people who keep us safe. Who are some people in the community who keep us safe, Gloria? Firefighters or police. These are examples. So right now you're looking at row blue, row number 2. I want you to go to your writing. Do you say 2 goods and services the government provides? Go ahead and check your writing right now. We just gave a bunch of examples that if you did not, go back and add it to your writing. Now is your job to check. You have 2 minutes. Go check your writing for goods and services. If you forgot, add it right now. The third thing Ms. Sousa modeled, I'm going to do a light purple. The third row, explain a reason people participate in government. What is a reason people participate in the government? Think back to Mrs. Sousa's example. She talked about people voting. She talked about people protesting. She gave 2 examples. Why? What is your reason why? What's your explanation why people participate? Go check your writing. You have 2 minutes. Look for a reason. If you do not have a reason, this is a time to add it to your writing. All right, Ms. Sousa has shown us how to check for the 3 things in our writing. Now she's going to continue showing us how do we use a rubric to make sure our sentences are 3rd grade. Okay, she's going to be showing us how to do that. We're going to focus our attention now on seeing another example from Mrs. Sousa before we go back and make sure our writing is 3rd grade perfect.
Now that we've graded ourselves according to the content, it's time for us to take a look at a new section. This section is going to look at our conventions, or the way that we use language. The first thing that I need to review for is, do all sentences make sense? This is either a yes, some of them do, or a no. We're going to go read to see if my sentences make sense. If they don't, I'll need to change them. The government has many purposes, but the two main purposes are to help citizens work together and keep people safe. That makes sense. One way the government does this is by making traffic laws to keep drivers safe. The government also provides funds for public parks and libraries for people to use. Awesome. People participate in government by protesting to speak up for what they think is right. Citizens can also vote because they want to help put the person in charge that they most believe in. The government can be very helpful to the people it serves. Awesome, that all made sense. So I can say yes, all of my sentences made sense. Now I'm going to look at our next item, which states, all sentences and proper nouns begin with a capital letter. Now I can skim read. Look here, the first letter in my paragraph is not capitalized. Let me change that. Erase and capital T. There we go. So capital T, there's no proper nouns like names of people or places here. And look, there's a period. And guess what? My next letter is not capitalized. So new sentence, new capital letter. Okay, I don't see any proper nouns. Oh, look, that one I did. There's a period, there's a capital letter. There's a period, there's a capital letter. Yes. Oh, look, I have a capital letter right here. Okay, but this is a comma. I might need to fix that later. Oh no, a period here and no capital letter. So let's change that. All right, so now I can say, yes, all of my sentences begin with a capital letter. I don't have any mistakes here. 0 to 1 mistakes. Now, let's take a look at our next one. All sentences have proper punctuation. Punctuation. This is going to be 0 to 1 mistakes, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, or more than 4. Let's go make sure we don't have any mistakes. I see at the end of this idea, there's a period. One way the government does this is by making traffic laws to keep drivers safe. Period. Yes. The government also provides funds for public parks and libraries for people to use. Hey, there's a period. People participate in government by protesting to speak up for what they think is right. Oof, I put a comma. Commas don't belong at the end of sentences. Periods do. So I will erase and add a period instead. Citizens can also vote because they want to help put the person in charge that they most believe in, with a period. And the government can be very helpful to the people it serves. My whole paragraph at the end, I almost didn't put a period on my very last sentence. But you know what? I think it's actually important that the government can be helpful, so I'm going to place an exclamation mark. Now I can say that yes, all of my sentences end with proper punctuation. There were a couple of other mistakes in here that maybe you caught on as not making sense because of the way a word was spelled. Did you find any of those?
Awesome job. Now, boys and girls, it's your turn. You're going to use your rubric on slide 2. Now you're going to look at the bottom part where we talk about all of our words making sense, all sentences beginning with a capital letter, and having correct punctuation. It's now time for you to check all of your sentences. If you're still working on the top 1, 2, 3, you need to finish up and make sure you have all of your information before you go edit for the bottom half. We're going to take 5 minutes to go check our sentences to make sure they make sense, that they have capital letters at the beginning of every sentence, and that there's punctuation at the end of every sentence. 5 minutes to go check your writing. That's your work right now. You may begin. All right, we're going to wrap up our lesson for reading. Your work time today is just finishing editing your work and improving it. You have some more examples from Mrs. Sousa if you would like to look through her example. I'm going to grade your writing on slide number 3. So right here, you should have your writing that you have checked and made it as perfect as possible for 3rd grade. I'm going to read slide 3 and I'm going to use slide 2 to grade your work. You will see in red, after you turn it in, I'm going to go through and I'm going to mark yes or no for each item for your writing. So it is now your work time. Then you can take a quick break. I'm going to end the Zoom. You can turn in your writing on slide 3 when you are finished. Good job on Zoom today.
Ms. Renale?